Welcome to Eclipsing Fire by Rowell. When I first set out to write Eclipsing Fire, I didn't intend to tell a story about magic, at least not the kind bound by wands or incantations. I wanted to explore a different sort of alchemy, the collision of the mundane and the extraordinary, the quiet moments of a life interrupted by forces too vast to comprehend, and the fragile, defiant spark that emerges when two souls refuse to be defined by the hands that shape them. What began as a whisper of an idea, a man standing in the rain, unaware of the fire sleeping within him, grew into a world where the supernatural isn't just a spectacle, but a mirror to our own struggles with destiny, identity, and love. Vale came to me as a reluctant everyman, someone who could have been any of us, a figure content to drift through life's currents until the tide turned against him. His ordinariness is his strength, his tether to a reality we recognize, one of coffee-stained mornings and crowded buses, of small apartments and smaller dreams. But it's also his vulnerability, a fragility that shatters when the unseen world claims him. Adrian, his counterpart, emerged from the shadows of that same vision, a man burdened by centuries of knowledge and loss, yet drawn inexorably to the light Ethan carries. Their story, at its core, is one of connection, two halves of a whole that have circled each other across lifetimes, pulled together by a force as ancient as it is unrelenting. This book is, in many ways, a love letter to the idea of choice. We live in a world that often feels scripted, where the weight of expectation, be it societal, familial, or cosmic, can press us into shapes we don't recognize. Ethan and Adrian's journey is a rebellion against that script, a refusal to let prophecy or history or even the stars dictate who they are or what they can become. Their romance, born in the flicker of fire and shadow, is less about inevitability and more about the courage to choose each other, again and again, despite the cost. It's a queer love story not because it has to be, but because it insists on being, one that transcends time and defies the boundaries of fate. The urban fantasy setting, with its hidden cities and warring factions, is a canvas for these questions of agency and belonging. Magic here is not a gift bestowed but a burden unearthed, a power that demands reckoning. I drew inspiration from the liminal spaces of our own lives, the places where the ordinary brushes against the inexplicable, and from the myths that have long whispered of chosen ones and eternal cycles. Yet Eclipsing Fire seeks to subvert those tropes, to ask what happens when the chosen one says no, when the prophecy is not a promise but a cage to be broken. Writing this novel was an act of discovery, a process of peeling back layers to find the heat beneath.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?